We interrupt this episode to bring you a special announcement in your #1 trusted news source, Crazy Sanchez. Thanks, folks. Crazy Sanchez here, and I want to bring VR Citizen to you. We're building a mobile VR cockpit that we can take to CitizenCon and bar citizens in your local area. We need all the help, support, and voodoo that you do over at the GoFundMe link in the description below. Thank you again, and stay safe, fly right. Content driven.
If you watched last week's 3-hour special edition of Star Citizen Live, you heard a lot about the evolution of this year's patches.
Are they doing a Star Citizen Live today? Or is it just ISC and Live is finally on Friday again?
How often they're going to come out and how our shows are changing to reflect that. And if you didn't, well, I'm not really going to recap all that here. But this week, we sat down with some of the non-feature folk to talk about the content-driven side of this new initiative.
Is that good? Can you guys see that? Yeah? They said alternate SC on ISC weekend. Okay, whatever. It's very pretty, Bishop, but what are we looking at?
Content-driven push come from?
Well, as we sort of alluded to in the 1.0 presentation at CitizenCon, there's been a desire to get more emphasis on starting to build the storylines and the characters of Star Citizen Universe and getting them actually in game.
Oh, was that it?
The way the content relies.
Hang on now.
Where did this idea?
Wait, Polaris. Star Kitten uniform, nice.
Where did this idea of a...
This? Is that not just that? I guess it doesn't have the same exact profile.
Where did this idea of a content-driven push come from?
Well, as we sort of alluded to in the 1.0 presentation at CitizenCon, there's been a desire to get more emphasis on starting to build the storylines and the characters of Star Citizen Universe and getting them actually in game.
The way the content patches are going to break down are we're ultimately trying to provide new content to you each month. Alongside all of this, we're going to be essentially providing new missions, new events, kind of a lot of what we've done before, but taking it up to the next level.
Okay, but first the missions have to work.
To start figuring out ways to engage the players in a growing and expanding storyline.
We're going to be sending you all the way around the verse, doing lots of different varied types of gameplay. You'll still be doing events that are prevalent to a story that we're going to be working on as well.
Okay, story then.
As well as new missions that build up the existing roster that we actually have in game already. There will be some content that is only there for a limited amount of time, but ultimately a lot of this content is still going to persist when we hit to Star Citizen 1.0. So we're actually building out the larger content map that exists in the game. On top of that, there's going to be a huge focus now on stability and quality of life too, because we want a stable environment for our developers to work in, but we also want a stable game that's less buggy, less crashes, and much more pleasant for you guys to play day to day.
That was interesting. Now, hang on.
And much want a stable game that's less buggy, less crashes.
Panel. Exposed panel. Do we need to do this for anything? Let's see here. Disable outlaw stronghold. Destroy power generators. Is that a mission?
And much more pleasant for you guys to play day to day.
I know there's like destroy explosives.
Today's been rough.
As far as the structure for how we're going to tell the story, one of the things that we were kind of excited to try for it was actually utilizing a storytelling structure that's usually used in TV shows. Basically, there's usually an A story and a B story that happen within a single episode. If you're Seinfeld, you have a C story as well because they're just that good. But there's the
A story, B story, and then you go back to the farm.
It's a supplemental,
constant way to draw tension.
Sometimes can feed into it, but sometimes can be standalone. And it's just a way to kind of keep the...
What I mean by that is, so you have your A story playing along, and then your B story, and obviously the A story is really important, and the B complements it, but like, you know, you get to a point where like, you know, we're building tension, you know, you're at an all-time high, and then you're like, shit, you know, tension and action has been happening for a long time now. You know, the viewer is getting kind of, you know, not bored, but oversaturated. What do? Well, you go back to the farm. You cut at the height the peak of the intensity in A story, and then you go jump to B story, and you pick up where you left off there. And then you do the same thing, and then vice versa, and you just go back to the farm, right? And using that in a story allows you to hold a consistent amount of up-ramping that never stops. Because you can't just do this forever, right? You have to come back down and, reset, so...
Seems dynamic and kind of make them feel alive. So what we're trying to do is actually utilize kind of a similar thing, but stretched out over a longer period of time. And the idea being that, A, it makes the universe feel bigger. So there's not just one thing happening that's consuming the entire universe. But also, if you're not interested in the A story, if for whatever reason it's not engaging you, you have something else that you can kind of do. So the idea is that hopefully that one of the two stories, hopefully both, but if not, one of the two stories will be fun and exciting and kind of offer a new insight to the Star Citizen universe. Currently, the plan is actually that the A story, we've already started it, and is actually going to be going through September. And then the B story is a little bit smaller, but it starts basically in April and goes on. So it's a multi-month thing. So it goes on till about October. Once
Interesting.
this A story and B story kind of resolve themselves, we have a new A story that starts up and a new B story. So we sort of bounce back and forth. So some months we'll have more B story than A story. Some other months we'll have more A story than B story. But it gives us a way to kind of, again, pull in a lot of different facets of the universe, and whether it's gameplay, mission types, ships, and not have to figure out one overarching narrative that somehow encapsulates everything.
This doesn't replace that big storyline that we talked about at CitizenCon.
No, this doesn't replace that, the 1.0 story, but it is actually kind of offering an exciting opportunity to kind of lay the groundwork for that type of storytelling in the game.
So they're trying to figure out how they need to tell the story for 1.0, so they're giving us this bullcrap first. In layman's terms.
Stanton is an event that spans over a few months, and it is all about a gang that has invaded Stanton. And it's not one of the usual ones either, it's not one of the usual suspects.
So this started in 324, where we made this narrative journey that players will go on.
The big story beat was that there was a new outlaw pack sort of showed up in Stanton's system and was wreaking havoc. They were known as the Slicers, and were launching basically devastating attacks against the local population.
Okay, but...
Targeting cargo ships.
Nobody would know this at all unless they watched Inside Star Citizen, read up on actual lore, and read every single word in the mission in the Moby-Glass instead of just immediately picking it up, okay, and just doing it, right? Nobody knows that the Slicers actually exist unless they're watching Inside Star Citizen. We need audio logs. We need fucking cinematics. We need fucking actual stuff in-game that we can watch and see to let us know story is happening. Not just a little, 5-paragraph fucking bullshit summary on a mission tab that I'm never gonna read. Like, my God. Like, if they want us to care like World of Warcraft, then they need to give us voiceovers. They need to give us fucking dialogue. We need short summarized lines. We need actual fucking, good narrative, story shit. It all needs to be cohesive and make sense, and it needs to be in cinematic form, and we need to be able to actually, watch it happen. We need heroes that we can look up to and know and point and say, oh, that's a guy. Oh, that's a person. Oh, that dude. We don't get any of that crap until after Squadron 42 is out, so they need to start drip feeding us that now inside of Star Citizen, outside of the Squadron 42 characters. Like, obviously, we're going to have Mark Hamill and John Rhys-Davies and, all these people in Squadron 42 that are going to be great heroes, like, the heroes of World of Warcraft and stuff, but, we don't get access to any of that in Star Citizen. So they need to give us some cinematics in-game to ground us to characters in the story. It cannot be, okay, get the story from reading 2 paragraphs of fucking lore here in a random mission, infographic.
Targeting different locations.
It's just
such as
insane.
and outposts, inhabiting them, and also going around stealing sensitive data that the CDF do not want them to
Like,
have.
again, you know, we all know this because we're watching this right now. They're telling us this is what's happening. But if you had not seen this and you were just playing the game, would you even know the slicers, who the slicers are? That they're any different from Xenothreat or any other fucking gang? Do you even know Xenothreat's a gang? If you're just an average player?
CDF had got all of the players to come and help.
No, because there's no fucking... It's just...
After the players sort of stopped them from doing that, the slicers had showed their power and showed what
Look, the story is there, but they need to show it and get it in front of the player. Phase 3, get your money. What's a journal? Yeah, exactly. There's a journal button to track my progress.
it was really about, and brought in an Idris that players had to try and reclaim off of them.
I thought that was a Xenothreat Idris.
And the sort of unprovoked aspect of it is just sort of highlighting effectively what the problem is with Pyro, is that you have this sort of lawless haven for outlaws right next door to Stanton, and basically they have the freedom to kind of come and attack when they want to.
So these people just lived in a hole and decided to come to another place and make it a hole?
Some people just love chaos.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that.
401, the player will find themselves in Pyro, ready to defend it or attack it. Depending on which one you have chosen, you'll be locked into that faction. So you can choose the Citizens for Prosperity, the Headhunters, or the Frontier Fighters. If you're working for the Citizens of Prosperity, you're doing more aid work. You're there to help people. You're not really doing much combat work. They're trying to make sure everyone survives this by passing out food, water, medical supplies.
They're basically like, we believe that there's good in this system. There are certainly bad elements, but you're just going to exacerbate the problem by trying to solve it with violence.
And the Headhunters are an old-time gang who've lived there for a long time. They know the land, they know the rules, and they're unhappy that these rules are being crossed.
Headhunters would want you in their group because they kick ass and they're fun to hang out with.
Yeah,
So they're on
we're
the
awesome.
offensive. They're here and they're going, you're not attacking our home. They're basically going to be just trying to kill the Frontier Fighters. And the Frontier Fighters want everybody dead. They're going nuclear Earth. You will be killing civilians. You will be killing Headhunters. You'll be killing Xenothreat. They don't care who. If you are in Pyro and you're not them, you're dead.
What's up the Frontier Fighters' ass?
A lot of explosives.
They're perfect for someone like the Darklaw. I don't know what that says about him.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
Frontier Fighters is basically justice for Stanton.
They just want to live life in Stanton without being interrupted every 5 seconds. They want to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Are you being honest about the Frontier Fighters right now?
No.
Oh, there's the paragraph. Look, look, you guys.
Frontier Fighters right now?
Did you see the lore? Blink and you miss it because you're just trying to accept a contract. Nope. All right, there's the lore. It's gone. And this is what I'm fucking talking about. We need more than just paragraphs of text to give us this information.
They're not telling you as an operative
If they actually,
what.
if they actually want to tell a story, they need to tell it. So, my only outtake was that there's very good-looking blonde designer. That's about to, I was gonna say she is pretty cute.
They are sending you to defend their data runners, and they're trying to get them out of Pyro, and they're asking you to go on the offensive now and attack the Frontier Fighters. Which isn't usual for the CFP. They're trying to be more of a peaceful group in this operation, but now they're not. And the Frontier Fighters are aware of this.
It'd be nice if each mission had an audio button to listen to it being read. No, that's garbage. You know why? Because they do that in Path of Exile. And it's great to have the lore be blasted at you, but anything more than 3 sentences is you just immediately tune it out because you're busy doing whatever you were doing, getting on with your life. All right? It needs to be a cinematic short video, a video log saying, help, we need you to do this, or blah, 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 or like a quick...
Again,
less than 20-second long audio log explaining what they need you to do, where and how and why. And then if you want a detailed information, you can play a separate audio log or get more of it.
Where Frontier fighters might have set up, they will go back in and explode.
But like
every
again, if
material
they
that
want to tell a story, they need to fucking tell it. Hush, I want to hear. Shut up, Snarf.
At the end of all this,
We just gotta blow up stuff, all right?
you'll learn things.
You might learn a few things about the intentions of each of those factions. You might learn something more about yourself.
So if they just want, if this is how they're gonna be, if they're gonna be all cheeky, ooh, you might learn things if you look real hard. It's like, no, tell us what the story is. I'm not saying that it has to be ham-fisted and like, oh, they hate these guys and like it has to be the most obvious thing ever. But like, let us know when the story is fucking happening, because you know what people are gonna do? They're just gonna click on mission accept and then go immediately to the marker and blow shit up, right? If they really want this story to be seen and heard, they need to fucking make it seen and heard. All right, thank you, Snarf. God damn it, I need to get rid of that. All right.
Make and ways that us as designers got to clear. At the end of this chapter, this leaves us with the truth of what was really happening and sets the stage for something more to come. The story doesn't end here.
I'll keep them occupied.
The way that this story
What
ultimately
story?
is intending to play
What?
out,
The story doesn't end here. What fucking story? Tell us!
there are actually going to be real ramifications based on the group community choices that are made. So that will actually change the direction of the universe. Or it can either go one way or it can go the other way. So we're actually going to be playing around a lot with ways that players can decide how they want the universe to change. So moving forward, there's going to be a bit of a twist that comes down the road.
All right, here's how it's going to go down to of how the players want to change the universe, right? In this order, whatever pays the most, whatever looks the coolest, no, whatever does the most damage, whatever pays the most, and then whatever looks the coolest, right? In that order, this is how the players will want to shape the universe, right? If there is a mission that gives a reward that lets them do more damage than if they had not done it, every single player is going to do that, okay? If that is not on the books, whichever fucking mission pays the most, every single player is going to do that, all right? And then after that, whichever mission gives you cosmetics if the pay is equal among all things being considered, right? This is the world that the players are going to shape. This is called meta, all right? Holy crap. Like, if they don't realize this now, then I don't know what to tell them, but...
road, which is going to escalate basically the situation into one of our first big events. With this, it basically allows us to plan out a bit more and actually, again, start to build a growing narrative.
Giving players more of a reason to engage and be able to talk to each other and like, hey, where did you get that item from? Oh, well, I was here when this happened, and I was here when this happened. Definable points in our universe's history. It adds to the universe, it adds to the
that you can
story.
buy later on
And
the
it means
subscriber
that
store.
You as a player help build this world out.
So
That's
I'm
not
really
fair, though.
excited
There's
about the
plenty of
changes
stuff that they
coming.
don't
It's
sell
going to allow us
anymore,
to get
so-
more fun content in your hands more often, and it's going to provide a much more stable environment for us to work in, but also for you to play in as well.
Up until this point, we've actually been honing in on gameplay mechanics and more kind of under the hood stuff. We have a lot of data pads in the game to kind of do the heavy lifting for storytelling now. This is allowing us to kind of push on those other facets as a way to kind of be higher impact storytelling techniques.
This is never going to happen. Ever, ever.
So with a patch almost every month this year.
And they don't drive like that. They fucking, they literally drive like rubber bands. It's so, this is not a representation of anything that is actually coherent and doable in the game right now, right?
So with a patch almost every month this
What target do you need 6 ground tanks to shoot at? What ground target exists in this game that requires literally any tanks to shoot at? There isn't any. That's it.
This year, building the narratives of the Stanton and Pyro systems with new content less reliant on big feature work, and packed between as many bug fixes and refinements as we can manage, we aim to deliver a progressive series of improvements in storytelling that will change life in the verse for the better throughout 2025. Oh, and last month, we launched a new bi-monthly Squadron 42 newsletter with exclusive video content, ringtones, wallpapers, and even merch. If you missed it, you can go to the Squadron 42 or account settings sections of the RSI website to opt in and not miss out on the next exclusive offerings. Or don't. I don't get any commission or anything. I just thought the stickers were neat.
Tanks are for mayhem. They're absolute mayhem. Yeah, but like they don't.
And process of game development with you.
But they're showing us this clip. It's like, yeah, we'll do a mission and you'll need tanks or something, or like, you know, even if they're not intending for that, then they're just saying, look how cool these tanks are. You know, imagine what it'll be like when you get to do something like this. You should probably have a tank ready for that day. It's just. All right, well, we'll see where it takes us when they get the quality of life, the bug fixes in, and the missions actually work. But the most important thing I have to say out of all of this is that if they're gonna tell a story, fucking tell a story. Like, actually tell us the goddamn story, for fuck's sake. Do not make us hunt and seek down the actual story. You can make us hunt and seek down the secret cool parts of the story, but the actual story we need to fucking get right up in our face. I still, to this day, had no clue what the fuck was going on in Path of Exile 1 until I played Path of Exile 2 because of how much better the narrative is in half of Path of Exile 2 to give me all of the context for PoE 1. Alright? That's what I'm getting on about. All of the story in Path of Exile 1 was done that exact same way that CIG is trying to do. Just have it in big paragraphs or listen to it that's played in an audio log that's 5 minutes long each, and nobody listens to them, nobody reads them, they skip they skip over every single one of them and they go straight to the end game and they play that, right? Nobody knows what's going on. Anyways, if you're watching this as a highlight on YouTube, I guess thank you for doing the voodoo that you do. Stay safe and fly out there. Let me know what you think down below. Am I crazy, or is the storyline like practically impossible to even figure out or know that it exists? I want to know your feelings and thoughts. Later.
But tell me why I can't...
No, there is no why. Nothing more will I teach you today. Clear your mind of questions.
Say the best.